Okay, if you've been to the physio and you've been diagnosed with a rotator cuff problem, it might be a tendinopathy, tendonitis, could be a tendon tear. You've probably definitely got some weakness in there and you probably know that. But what you should be doing is strengthening. And of course, you've probably been given some exercises to do. I'm going to give you some new ones to do, but they're going to be specific for the supraspinatus tendon. So today is all about supraspinatus and trying to diagnose, well, not diagnose, but trying to test whether you're getting better, okay? Because this sort of thing can be left behind. You can do all these other amazing exercises and start getting into pressing and pulling and you're doing your rotator cuff work, but you're still getting pain or still having a bit of weakness. And sometimes that can keep continuing on if you don't isolate a specific problem. And a lot of the time it's because your supraspinatus tendon is not quite up to scratch. So with my shoulder, that was the case, and I'm getting that better. And I'm going to share with you that, and what I do, and how to test it. So your supraspinatus, the position that you're going to test it in is what we call scaption. Just remember that word, scaption. Now that's not flexion like this, and it's not lateral abduction work like that. It's a 30-degree angle that way. So it's like flexion, all right? But it's in the scapular plane, hence the word scaption. It's not abduction, it's not flexion, it's scaption. So when you are facing straight ahead, think of a front raise. It's not that, okay? Think of a lateral raise, it's not that. It's 30 degrees that way. And that direction is where the surgeons also test you if you've got a supraspinatus problem, okay? So you've probably been tested by the physio and you'll hold your arm out and they'll push down and you'll try and push up. Sometimes you'll do an empty bear can sign where you'd go that way and push up. But if you want a general sort of rule of thumb, excuse the pun, rule of thumb, is working out whether your strength is the same as the other side. Put your arm out, put your other over top, push down and push up as hard as you can, okay? Now, then you just go to the other side, push down, push up. Now, if you've got a supraspinatus problem, say on your left-hand side, it's going to be okay pushing down. It's the pushing up is the problem. So from that position there, you push down, push up. You can sort of test which side is weak or which side gives you a bit of pain. Then you sort of know, okay, is it still weaker than the other side, regardless of being left and right-handed, okay? So if you've still got that problem, then you start needing to work on some strengthening work. Now, you've probably done rotator cuff work, okay? You've probably done some external rotation, even up here, especially my band work you might have seen before, where you're working right up here into 90 degrees. But I also want you to work on the actual testing position with some load. Now, you can do it a few different ways. You can do it nice and easy. You can do it with, say, a band, all right, if you want a gradual load. But the band, to be honest, is going to have to be pretty light. And sometimes you'll find that the band, if they're too heavy, when you lift up, it's just too hard for them, okay? Especially if the tendinopathy is really bad. So I would suggest band if you don't have any dumbbells. But if you do have dumbbells, start off with something light. Now that's 2 kilos. So think of a 2-litre milk container. You could fill that up. 2 kilos up that way, in that direction now. Now, some of the severe tendinopathy or recovering from a repair or a tear in the rotator cuff tendon and their supraspinatus will struggle with 2 kilos. So you might have to drop down to 1, all right? Does depend on what dumbbells you have. So if you're going only a 2, then you might have to use a milk, like I said, a milk container, half fill it, there's 1, all right? So from this position, you're going to go, again, not front raise. All right, it's not a bodybuilding front raise exercise. It's certainly not a lat raise exercise. It's thumb up or dumbbell facing that way, if you like, and going forward up in the angle. Now, what I would work on is actually making sure your shoulder blade's set back. All right, so sort of set back, not pulled fully, but just not forward. Okay, so sort of set back a little bit. All right, and keep it there. And then you're going to go up slowly through past 90 degrees. Trying to get to 120, hold it, and then quite slow eccentrically on the way down. All right, so don't swing it up. And the other thing to do is remember, don't bend your elbow. There's a very sort of tendency to sort of want to bend your elbow because then you start using the other part of your arm. So try not to cheat with that. Keep your elbow locked straight with your tricep and come up and forward up to that 120. Hold it for a pause, little isometric hold there. And then sort of 4 or even 5 seconds on the way down, okay? Now, there's going to be a big jump from 2 to 4, okay? That's twice as much. Now, you might think, oh, 2 kilos is not much, but in that position, That's a lot harder, okay? So don't be too keen to go straight into something hard because you end up probably compensating a bit, or you bend your elbow, or you have to start swinging it. Remember, it's a slow, gradual strength, and these sort of things need to be up to maybe 12, 15 reps, 3 or 4 sets every single day. So you need that recovery day. As you get stronger, obviously as the weight goes on, you may find you have to have a rest day more than that, might be 3 times a week. Okay, but that scaption plane is the actual direction you're looking for. It's not the only exercise you do for rotator cuff, of course, but it's a really good one that if you've not done it before, if you've got a supraspinatus tendinopathy or tendinitis, tendon tear, tendon repair, those 4 things, it's a really good one to start working on to try and get that up to speed, and it certainly worked for me. There's no point though going above 120, because after that you're just going to start using other muscles to get the arm up. So you're just working on sort of 0 to 90 and then up to maybe 120 degrees where you work on that supraspinatus in that nice plane there, and that's all you work on, right? With the bands, if you're struggling to try and get weight so things aren't working, or if you're a little bit stronger, you can start working with a band. Maybe start with a light, maybe yellow, if the yellows in your country is light, and you can work on that position there and work on that. Now that's a gradual resistance. So at the bottom it's going to be kinder, at the top it's going to be harsher because of the stretch of the band. Now that sort of movement you may find is quite nice for some people. If you want to be super clever and you don't have any more weight than say 2 kilo, you can add the 2 together. So to increase the weight from 2, you want to graduate that up, have your 2 kilos, put your band in and work on that. And remember, every rep, just make sure you're getting that shoulder in the right position, okay? So my recommendation, if you've been diagnosed with that rotator cuff problem, add it into your program. You can't go wrong, but be careful with it. Don't increase the load too much. Go carefully and keep testing. Now next time we're going to work on actual dynamometer testing of that tendon, and I'll show you the difference between left and right. See you then.